Hi class, I selected gun control for my persuasive speech. Currently, the United States ranks first in the world in terms of gun ownership per population, and statistics show that more than 40% of all guns in the world are in the United States. In other words, it is an indication that innocent victims by firearms may continue to occur in the future. A lot of children have gotten killed by guns while at school. In a recent elementary school shooting, on the morning of March 27th, a shooting occurred at a private elementary school located in Knoxville, Tennessee. The shooter killed three 9-year-old students and three faculty members. There's a problem with gun violence in the US, and we should have a gun control. In June 2022, the US Congress enacted the Gun Control Strengthening Act. It strengthens background checks on buyers of firearms between the ages of 18 and 21 and restricts the purchase of dangerous firearms with a history of a mental illness or criminal history. However, this bill has limitations in that it cannot control all of the various routes for gun purchases and cannot prevent the purchase of a gun itself. For more Americans, gun ownership is still personal freedom and right. The US Constitution also enshrines the freedom to own guns. The problem is that the US Constitution and the Second Amendment were enacted at the founding of the United States. In the early days of the country, there was a situation that had no choice. In the days of the Wild West, people risked their property and their lives as constant threat from Indians, cowboys, and sometimes wild animals such as grizzlies, brown bears, American bison, and gray wolves. In order to protect it, they had no choice but to be armed, and it was guaranteed by the Constitution. But 250 years later, things have changed a lot. The threat factor is gone. Native Americans have been living on Indian reservations since 1890. When the last tribes were driven to Indian reservations by the US government, cowboy bandits that dominate the Wild West era are gone. Wild animals are no longer a threat to people's villages. They are on the verge of extinction because the people have caught too many of them. So why do people still keep guns in their homes at all times? It is said that more people die each year from American shootings than the number of American soldiers killed in the Vietnam War. The reason is that the NRA, the National Rifle Association, is at work. Founded in 1871, the group was initially started for a healthy gun culture. However, in the 1970s, when the Vietnam War was in full swing, it suddenly turned into a political organization. Now, this group supports American people's demands for gun rights and citing the Second Amendment to the Constitution. Americans have the right to arm themselves with firearms and defend themselves. Even this group is trying in every way to get rid of gun control laws and policies. In 1995, the Brady Act was enacted to build up gun control. The main idea of this law is that there's a 5-day review period for buying a gun so that the person can buy a gun without criminal record or history of a mental illness. However, through the efforts of the NRA, this law was repealed. It even prevented re-election of Jimmy Carter, who advocated gun control in one presidential election. As long as the NRA continues to operate in the United States, no matter how hard we try to implement gun control policy, this implementation is often difficult. In the center of this serious gun instance, there's no real gun control. In the United States, gun ownership is still legal, and public opinion against regulation is high. Politicians who need to legislate for this purpose are passive in their movements. Conscious of votes, historical background, and political interests continue to be more important than human life. Although strengthened gun control laws have recently been enacted, it is unclear whether they will have any practical effort. It seems that more time is needed to ensure safety from guns in the United States. If Americans do not acknowledge the danger and the need for regulation, gun related incidents are likely to continue unless a sustained public opinion is created and the political world continues to be preserved. The important thing is that no matter how precious the history and ideological values of a country are, they cannot be more precious than human life. This is not the age of pioneer, the West, nor is it the age of outlaws roaming around. This is an era in which there are laws and institutions and public power protects the safety of the people. I look forward to more forward looking changes regarding guns in the United States in the future.